welcome to Ikate's Crossing. Okay, so we're getting close to finishing up The Secret of Shambhala by James Redfield, the third book in the Celestine Prophecy. Okay, so what we're up to here, let's just have a little bit of a, we're up to chapter 11, The Secret of Shambhala. Okay, so let's use the Siddartha Tarot and the Buddhism Oracle, and let's have a look and see what the cards have for us in regards to the Secret of Shambhala. Can you give us a message in regards to the Secret of Shambhala, please? Just giving the cards a good bit of shuffle. Oh, okay. First card. Oh God, sorry, I'm going to have to bend down and grab it. Okay, the first card we're talking about is Lovers. Okay, Lovers to me is that sense of connection. In this case, I'm getting a very much about connection. It's also about the choices that we make in regards to the relationships that we have around us. And that's part of that connection energy, that sense of passion, desires, creative energy, that sense of balancing out the yin and yang energy that's going on and whatever's going in regards to your choices. So there's a lot going on there. So let's tell us a little bit more about the Lovers. Whoa. Okay. Got that one, but there's one other card here. Okay, we've got Eight of Wands. So things move quite quickly. Things are moving quite intense. Again, you've got that passion, that sense of, with the wands to me is very much about passion, creative energy, desires, things moving quite quickly in the energy there. Kind of interesting. Things move quite quickly. Okay, and Two of Wands. Again, choices. Okay, choices. Two of Wands is also about choices. It's all about taking a moment to pause, deciding on where you're going, what you're doing in your life. So kind of interesting when you think about the choices of connections with people, that sense of, you know, how you're going to choose within your relationships, what's next, how things move quite quickly, intensely, passionate desires, creative energy. Again, you've got a lot of that passion, but then you're reminded to sort of take a pause for a second, a temporary pause, and allow yourself to choose in which direction you're actually going. The world's your oyster. Anything's absolutely possible here, which is kind of important. And here we've got Five of Cups. So it really depends on what your focus is to how you're going to the choices that you're going to make, right? What are you focusing on? Are you too worried about the spilt milk? Are you worried about the things that you cannot control instead of worrying about the things that you can control? That's kind of really important here to look at. So here you've got these choices seem to be quite strong when you look at the Lovers and Two of Wands. You've got the choices, you've got passion and intensity with the things moving quite quickly in regards to the relationships. Now, is that a relationship within yourself? You know, when we're talking about relationships, is that a relationship that you have with yourself as well as with others? That yin and yang energy within oneself. So let's have a look at the Buddhism Oracle card and see what card. I shuffle a little bit and see what card stands out. Enlightened aspiration. Okay, let's take a minute, take a breath. Enlightened aspiration is the determination to attain perfect enlightenment and also to lead all sentient beings to that state. This aspiration is the elixir that transforms a mundane life into an empowering path towards true happiness. So that's how you choose to be within relationships, how you choose to, whatever you choose to focus on. Interesting card. So let's have another little look at this. This is card number 49. And see what it says. The seed of enlightened aspiration is the compassion in our hearts. We cannot bear for our loved ones to suffer, so we must do something to help relieve their suffering. The seed of compassion sprouts into great compassion once it's moistened by the wisdom of equanimity, seeing the truth that all sentient beings have been our loved ones and protected us in numerous past lives. This sprout of great compassion grows into a giant tree, nourished by the aspiration to repay the kindness of our mother sentient beings, and the wisdom that all our loved ones are suffering the endless cycle of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Out of our burning wish to immediately free our loved ones from this pain, we find determination for self-empowerment, aiming for the capacity to free all sentient beings from all suffering. This capacity is the state of perfect enlightenment. Interesting message there. Okay, so let's continue with this chapter. Chapter 11, we're up to the secret of Shambhala. Okay. For hours we wandered through the temples, looking for Tashi's grandmother, hurrying to stay ahead of the Chinese military, and observing the work those in the temples were doing. In each temple, we found people viewing a situation in the outer cultures that seemed critical. One temple was focused on other problems related to youth alienation, the proliferation of violent experiences induced by movies and killer video games, which created the delusion that violent acts could be performed in anger and then erased somehow without being final, a false reality that was at the heart of the school shootings. In these instances, we watched as the creators of these games were each sent energy that had the effect, as before, of lifting them into a higher intuitive perspective with which they could rethink the effects of their creations on children. At the same time, key parents were likewise being lifted into higher energy states, where they could investigate their hunches about what their children were doing and find more time to model a different reality. One temple focused on the current debate within the field of medicine over alternative preventative approaches that were being proved to be beneficial in the elimination of disease and in the increase of longevity. The gatekeepers of medicine, the medical organizations of various countries, the heads of popular research clinics, the government institutes of health also dispensed large financial grants. The pharmaceutical companies all operated out of an 18th century paradigm which fought the systems of disease without much thought about prevention. Their targets were various microbes, faulty genes, and runaway tumor cells, and most thought such problems were the inevitable results of aging. Under this point of view, the huge majority of grant money was going to the large research facilities, looking for magic bullets, pharmaceuticals that could be patented and sold to kill microbes, destroy the malignant cells, or somehow reprogram the genes. Almost no money was going into research to discover ways to boost the immune system and prevent such diseases. In one scene, we watched a conference meeting involving representatives for many medical fields. Some scientists were arguing that the entire field of medicine had to change its point of view if we were ever going to solve the riddle of human disease, including the arterial lesions of heart disease, the tumors of cancer, and the degenerate illnesses such as arthritis and lupus and MS. These scientists were arguing, as Han had earlier, that the true cause of disease of every type was polluting of the body's basic environment by the foods we were eating and other toxins, shifting the body from the healthy, vibrant, alkaline state of youth to a dull, low-energy acid state, which created a climate in which microbes flourished and began to systematically decompose the body. Every ailment that they argued is the result of the slow decomposition of our cells by microbes. But they don't attack us without cause. It is the foods we consume that sets us up for these problems. Others in the room had trouble accepting these findings. Something had to be wrong, they thought. How could human illness be that simple? They were involved with health industries, which saw consumers spending billions of dollars on complex drugs and expensive surgeries. The health officials in the room had to believe all this was necessary. Some were dedicated to the proposal, close to being accepted in many countries, that chips should be placed in every individual to store health and drug information, a control and identification ability that the intelligence services also wanted. They were committed to this program. Their positions of power depended on it. Their very livelihoods were at stake. Besides, they personally loved the foods they ate. How could they recommend that people change their diets in ways they could imagine doing themselves? No, they couldn't accept this. Still, the physicians with the new research continued to plead their case, knowing the climate was right to change the paradigm. Look at how the rainforests were being cleared and destroyed to raise beef for the Western countries, they argued, a problem ever more people were becoming aware of. Also helpful was the fact that baby boomers in all countries were beginning to reach ages when disease strike, and they had already seen the medical establishment fail their parents. They were looking for new alternatives. Slowly we saw the conflict begin to moderate in the conference we were watching. Those arguing for the alternative approaches were being listened to. In another temple, we witnessed the same kind of debate in the profession of law. A group of attorneys were urging the profession to begin to police itself. For years, reputable attorneys had stood by and watched many of their colleagues engage in the practice of manufacturing lawsuits, coaching witnesses to shade the truth, inventing imaginary defenses, hypnotizing juries. Now there was a movement to raise the standards. Certain attorneys were arguing that they must move to a higher vision of what they do, that they must understand the true role of lawyers to reduce conflict, not promote it. Similarly, several of the temples we serve were looking at the situation of political corruption in various countries. We saw scenes of elected officials in Washington, D.C., debating behind closed doors as to whether to support campaign finance reform. At issue most especially was the ability of political parties to receive unlimited amounts of contributions from special interests and spend it on general TV spots, which distorted the truth in any manner they wished. The dependence on large corporations for these funds obviously obligated the politicians of the party to certain favours, and everyone knew it. These politicians resisted the arguments of reformers that democracy should never reach its ideal until it was based not on distorted TV ads, but on public debates, where the citizens could more readily judge demeanour, facial expression, truthfulness, and thus use their intuition to choose the best candidate. As we continued to move through the temples, it became clear that all of them were similarly focused on some particular area of human life. We saw many fearful world leaders, including those in the Chinese government, being helped to join the global community and to implement economic and social reforms. And in every case, the area behind the people involved would lighten, and then those most in fear, who were acting to control or manipulate, to ensure personal gain or power, would gradually begin to lessen the intractability of their positions. As we continued to run through the maze of temples, searching for Tashi's grandmother, the same questions kept coming to me. What exactly was happening here? What was the relationship between the Dakini, or the angels, and the prayer extensions being performed? What did those in the temples know that we didn't? Okay, that's it for today. Don't forget to check the links down below. Check the links on my channel. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care and blessed be.